Hello, first grade. This is Brian with another math lesson today. Today we are going to be looking at things that take a second, a minute, or an hour to do. So it piggybacks on yesterday's lesson. So I am going to show you a list of things that if you want to gather them a little bit later and probably come back to this because we're going to go through some of these things quickly, but if you want to try them, you can go back to this and you can try them out. A classroom clock, obviously we don't have. If you have an analog clock on your wall, it would be helpful. 15 pattern blocks, which you probably don't have. Some kind of blocks, building blocks would be okay. 4 to 5 ice cubes in a cup, a small container of hot water, a saucer, which is just basically a small plate, some scratch paper. That means it doesn't have to be anything new. It could just be some scrap paper. Maybe you have a recycling bin or something you could get that from. Scissors, maybe a box of crayons, and a pencil. And like I said, if you want to stop the video and pick up some of these things, or go through the video first to see what kinds of experiments you would want to try and then come back to the video. Okay, so next up, how long do you think it would take to stack all 15 of these blocks? Do you think it would take 1 second to do that, 1 minute to do that, or 1 hour to do that? If you guessed 1 minute, you were correct. About 1 minute to stack all 15 of those. Might not take that whole minute to do, but it's going to be closer to a minute than it is to just a second, or way closer than just an hour. Okay? Did it take more? Did it take exactly? Did it take closer to 1 second or 1 minute? Like I said, it's probably just going to be 1 minute. So it says use your classroom analog clock and it will start and start stacking when the second hand reaches the 12. So you'd be able to watch that minute hand go from the 12 all the way back around to the 12. And that would be your 1 minute if you wanted to time it with an analog clock. Next up, how long do you think it will take to knock over that stack? Do you think it's going to take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? I want you to think about that. Did it take closer to 1 second or closer to 1 minute? Probably way closer to 1 second. Maybe only a few seconds to do a knockdown like that. Both of these experiments involve changing the materials in some way, okay, by building them, putting them together, or knocking them over and taking them apart. So here are a few time experiments that you could do. Like I said, you would be able to stop the video, get the things, materials that it's asking you to get, and then come back to the video or watch the video through and then come back to it later. So here are some of the time experiments. 4 to 5 ice cubes in a cup, a small container of water, a small plate, saucer, scratch paper, scissors, a box of 8 crayons, pencils, or scissors, a box of 8 crayons, pencil, and it wants to know, will it take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? So let's take a look at what the experiments are. One of the experiments is to rip the paper in half. Does it take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? How about break one of the 2 popsicle sticks? I didn't remember it telling us to get popsicle sticks. Dump the ice cubes out of the cup. Drop an ice cube into the cup. Spill the water. Dump out the crayons. Break the pencil and stack 2 blocks. So, how long did it take for each of those things? Here are some time experiments. Can you do these things in 1 minute? Cut out a paper snowflake. You remember how we folded corner to corner, and then we folded into 3 equal pieces to be able to do snowflakes? Would you be able to melt an ice cube in the hot water? If you stir it, it might help you. Would you be able to write your name and address? I keep slipping through. Write your name and address on the paper. Would you be able to write your first name 10 times on a piece of paper? Would you be able to make a little building with some blocks and some popsicle sticks? Okay, some time experiments for 1 hour. You might be able to draw a really, really good picture. Lots of great detail, lots of color. Okay, you might be able to get an ice cube to melt if you just put it down on the saucer, the plate, and let it melt on its own. I bet you could write a really good story in just 1 hour. Melt all the ice cubes by leaving them in the cup. It would probably take an hour and probably would do it even faster if it was a hot day out. Okay, let me slide them all up so I don't keep bumping through them again. Place one ice cube on the saucer. What do you think will happen? Will it take less than, more than, or exactly 1 hour for the cube on the saucer to melt? What about the cubes in the cup? You could do a comparison here. Which one will melt faster? One ice cube on a saucer or 4 ice cubes in a cup? Something for you to try. How long will it take to put your coat and shoes on? Do you think it's going to take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? Probably about a minute. It doesn't take us very long to get our coats on. How about to stand up? If you're sitting in a chair and you get ready to stand up, do you think that's going to take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? And remember, we want to think about it closest to. Is it closest to a second or closest to a minute? Probably closest to a second to be able to stand up at our seat. Okay, here's another one. How long do you think it takes to play a soccer game? A second, a minute, or 1 hour? Some of you might not play soccer, but I bet you've seen a soccer game. It's probably going to take an hour. You know what? If you do a minute soccer game, that might be one that you play with your friends and then you all decide you want to play something different. But this would be when your team plays. Okay? How about this one? Listen to some music. So you want to listen to a CD of music. Okay, maybe the whole CD. Do you think it's going to take you 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour to listen to that whole CD? Probably the whole hour, isn't it? Not just 1 minute. Maybe, if it was a short song, you might get it for 1 minute. How long would it take you to call a friend and say hi? 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? Probably a minute. I remember sometimes when we used to call, we couldn't like FaceTime people or text people. We would talk on the telephone for maybe an hour if you wanted to talk to somebody. How long will it take to close a door? Okay, I open my door to get my mail and then I close my door. Would it take 1 second, 1 minute, or 1 hour? And remember, closest to probably 1 second. Again, friends, you can look through the workplaces if there are any of those games that you want to play. That's fantastic. If you finish up all my videos quickly, you can go ahead on to eSpark or some Math Packet work. Okay, either one of those things would be great. So I'll see you tomorrow for a new lesson. Tomorrow we'll be talking about how long does it take. So we were doing estimates of time in this lesson. So now we're going to actually be timing some things. We'll see you tomorrow.